my goodness. Hi, guys. That was just us trying to go Instagram live and it didn't happen. It's all good. We tried.
That's right.
Anyway, you know what time it is. It is Sipping with Sue time. And heck yes, it is the weekend. It is Friday. And dang it, you guys, it has been such a long time since I've been able to sit with y'all. But we are here and so excited to welcome back Nikki Veit on our Sipping time. So hello, my dear. How are you doing?
Hello. Thank you. It's good to see you. I'm loving your whole outfit, your whole look, by the way.
Oh,
With
thank
the
you.
like choker necklace. Yes, it's very
Yeah, I
rocker.
always do. I'm a choker girl. I
I like
love
it.
chokers.
I dig it. It's cool.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, I
Loving
can't.
it.
It's been a long week. I'm tired from like the busyness, but it is the
Mhm.
weekend, so we have to just pepper up and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we were, see, I'm so like, and as we were having fun, again, we were just live on Instagram trying to get this thing to work on Instagram and here, but we are live, you guys, on Facebook, YouTube, and X, chatting with real
Yeah,
people doing real things extraordinarily. And if you have not gone over to my YouTube channel, please do. And subscribe, hit the bell to get all of the latest content as soon as it is uploaded. And it hasn't been uploaded in a really long time. Sorry, y'all. I've been traveling everywhere and I actually had a Friday to take a breather. Nikki was like, "Hey, I want to talk about some fun stuff," and I'm like, "Yes, let's do it."
yeah.
So, Nikki Veit, Kettlebell Queen, give us a little bit of background on yourself so that folks can get acquainted with you for the folks that haven't seen you before.
Absolutely. So I'm Nikki Veit. I'm currently living in Memphis, Tennessee, even though I'm from New York originally. So we've talked about the New
Yes.
York background exactly for real. Um, but I've been training clients like fitness since 2015. And I quickly became obsessed with kettlebells. But I realized it wasn't just that. I quickly became obsessed with weightlifting in general,
Mhm.
kettlebells, barbells, dumbbells, body weight training. And that's what kind of catapulted me to where I am today. So people call me the Kettlebell Queen because yeah, they know me. I've done coaching kettlebells. I've competed in kettlebell events, but I really like fixating on strength training, especially with women. And yeah, that's what motivates me on a regular basis to do what I do, to do what I love. And even being here, like we're talking on a Friday night because we're passionate about this stuff in general.
Definitely. And two females that love weight training because I love
Mm-hmm.
weight training as well. I could, cardio can kick the can. I know we need it, but
Right.
I definitely love lifting weights better. So let's get right into it. Um, we're
But you can
talking
get
about
cardio through weightlifting, right? Like you felt your heart rate
yes,
skyrocket.
yes. But when I was training, so competing also, it's that fine balance for me and my body.
Yeah,
Everybody else is, everybody has to deal with their own body and their own issues and how they work in their programs, right? And
100%.
so for me, I had to have a lot of cardio when I was competing, along with a lot of weight training. So it was a fine balance for me on the cardio and the weight training, but it wasn't the thing that I enjoy doing cardio
Sure.
like ever.
Sure.
Like not
It's a
ever.
mindset.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I take a walk around the neighborhood or I'll swim when the weather gets nice and that's enjoyable for me. But like sitting on an elliptical or a bike, even the
Sure.
row is like, I'm like, oh, I'm so bored.
Yeah, I always liked weightlifting in a way that got my heart rate up, whether you're switching between exercises quickly
Hmm.
or you're like doing kettlebell swings or dumbbell snatches. But I know what you
Hmm.
mean. I don't think I have not enjoyed running more than like 2 miles in a row. Like more
Hmm.
than that is like that's a marathon. It does not excite me the way swinging a kettlebell does. It's funny. Everyone's so different
Yeah.
about that stuff.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, so we were talking about women and weights and the real truth, right? So,
Yeah.
how are women being lied to about weight training and what does that mean? Because we were talking earlier and you made a comment about how women have been lied to about weights their whole entire lives. So, set the
Yeah.
record straight for us.
My dog is behind, so he's adjusting the camera. That's what's happening. I don't have a bad cameraman, it's just the
What?
dog. Um,
She's on a
yeah,
boat.
exactly. So this is where I might like start some fires because I'm not a controversial person, but I do like to confront the fact that I do believe women have been lied to about exercise in a sense of being encouraged to take up less space, to do just cardio, right? Like there's women that are the opposite of us. They've been told, hey, all you're going to do is cardio. So whether you like it or not, learn to love it, because you got to get smaller, lifting weights that makes you get bigger, that makes you bulk up, right? That's always the term, bulky. You get bulky.
I'm gonna
But
look like a dude. I'm gonna look like a man if
exactly, exactly. There's all these other qualifying terms, like it makes you masculine, it makes you, which is so funny because I still know so many women that are stronger than men and they don't look bulky or anything. And it's like, so are you saying that like men aren't allowed to be weaker than women? You know, like it's so funny how we determine what it means to lift weights and get strong. But no, I just think women have been lied to because especially for weight loss and getting tight around the core midsection, they're convinced like, hey, if you just run, if you just row, if you just bike, if you do that monostructural cardio, then you're just going to lose all that fat. But what they're not telling you is that you can lose muscle, and you're not building a lot of muscle by doing that either. And so, sure, maybe you are going to lose some fat doing cardio. Absolutely. I'm not going to deny that. But by not lifting the weights, you're not building the muscle, which is going to help you burn fat and actually give you the figure you're looking for, like toned, wanting to get tighter, wanting to get firmer. So it's a shame. Like when I started coaching in 2015, I didn't realize I was doing anything extraordinary by helping women lift weights. You know, I was 24 and I was training 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds how to lift weights. And some of them were like, you're the first person teaching me this. And I'm like, wow, that's shocking. I mean, I didn't learn how to lift weights in high school or college. So I can imagine how it's worse generationally. You know what I mean? Folks older than us might have never learned how to lift weights. So yeah, that's my soapbox, I should say, about women being lied to, you know, that concept of being told to do something that is actually not going to help them achieve their goals.
And of course, the scary part of even going into the gym to try to lift weights.
Yeah. What do you do?
What do you do? Like, how do I take off this 100-pound plate that somebody else left there for me because they don't know how to re-rack their weights?
Grabbing my drink.
You know, and those kinds of things. So it's a scary thing. I feel. So why does why would a female enlist another female trainer to get fit as opposed to a male? Because I've seen a lot of females work with males, and me personally, like I started in the gym a long time ago. We're gonna go ahead and I just had a birthday, but yeah, a long time ago, long time ago.
Yeah.
So I left, left high school, got into the military, and now I'm in the service. I'm overseas. And I have these two friends that are bodybuilders, and they're guys. And I'm in the gym doing my thing, but I love like the bodybuilding part of it. So
totally.
I was again, that's where the weight training came in, and lifting weights and lifting heavy. I saw them, and I just thought that it was just really neat how they completely changed the look of their body through weights and through training that way.
Yes.
And so I got into training, not necessarily through them, and I didn't get I wasn't working with them, and I didn't enlist them as a trainer. I was still doing my own research and working on my own. And I've done that for a really long time. And so, and if I did enlist a trainer, it was always a female trainer, because I feel, this is me again, I feel that men know only so much about females' bodies, and I think females know a lot about their own bodies.
Yeah, sure.
So why would a female enlist another female trainer to get fit?
It's funny, you literally took the words from my mouth when you said I saw them using weights to transform their body. That's what got me hooked on weightlifting, especially. Like, whoa, the concept of bodybuilding. And you and I both know it actually takes a lot for a woman to get bulky, right? To get that bulky look, not only are they in a caloric surplus, but they're probably taking steroids or some type of performance enhancing drugs. And, you know, some of it is legal and some of it's illegal, depending if you're competing. But it takes a lot of hard work to bulk up as a woman if it's not automatically in your genetic code. But anyway, that's always a detour. I find, so why do women hire women? I think, like you said, a woman might know, like, hey, I feel more comfortable. I trust you more to know me. It's funny because my first personal trainer was a woman. Shout out to Brittany McCoy, because she changed my life. I mean, it's my job now, 10 years later, but eight to 10 years later, I suppose. But I wanted to hire her because I almost was like, I don't know that I'm going to instantly connect or bond with a guy. I'm not going to doubt that like one of y'all is smarter than the other. For me, it was about experience and who I felt comfortable with. And I specifically remember seeing Brittany's headshot, knowing she was doing free consultations, and just sign up. And I was like, okay, I'll sign up for like a 15-minute consultation. I'm 22 years old. What do I have to lose? And I think instantly I felt trust with her. However, up until recently, I've had more male coaches, you know, and that's more for a different skill when it's related to like CrossFit or gymnastics, something I have no reference of. I don't really care about the gender of my trainer. I want to go again with like experience and trust. But ultimately, I won't lie, I prefer working with women. I have male clients as well. I prefer working with women because I do think there is a communication, a bond, and a way that like we can understand each other. Like, you know, menstruation, menopause, pre-post natal, that all comes up in the conversation. And whether I've gone through menopause or been pregnant myself, I know more about training on your cycle and like how your hormones affect whether you're feeling stronger or weaker or more energized or less energized or hungrier because of your metabolic rate changes. So I think some men specifically don't take that into context. Some men do. Some men have done training, but I think the menstrual cycle for some folks can really make a difference. And I think you can just learn, you know?
Yeah, menstrual cycles, menopause, pregnancy, all of those things, all of the above. It's usually
I learn from my clients the same way they learn from me.
Yeah, but it's usually the conversation that nobody wants to have. You know, as females or not, people are like, oh, don't talk about it.
Totally.
Blah, blah, blah. And it's why. We're women. It's something we need to talk about. And especially,
it's like asking for a tampon, right? Like, oh, I have to whisper about it. I can't just say, hey, does anyone have a tampon?
Yes, I need one. Hello. It's just, and the weight fluctuation and the things that go on with internally within our bodies all are like tied to all of that. So again, why are we not talking?
Yeah.
Talking and integrating that into training and all of that stuff. So that's a big thing for me because I'm in a later part of the year's life. And so
totally.
I've had weight gain and I've had like things going on where I'm just like, this is kind of sucking right now. What do I need to do? And there's nothing out there because nobody's talking about it.
Yeah. There is actually, in fact, there's this really, if you haven't seen it yet, do you know that podcast? Oh God, goodness, CEO, interview with a CEO or something like that. But this renowned gynecologist who specializes in menopause, she recently went on the podcast and she's doing some like cutting edge research on stuff like that. And, you know, a lot of what she talks about is exercise and fitness and like, are you maintaining certain levels of strength and bone density, you know? And there is still a lot that people aren't talking about in terms of like, depending what age or whatever you're dealing with hormonally, because inherently men and women are just so different with hormones. And that's why men can be big and strong a lot quicker naturally than some women, purely because of the concept of hormone breakdown. So it is interesting.
Yeah, big time. And so what are the biggest myths out there about lifting weights? And we can go maybe specifically into muscle growth versus that skinny fat person concept. You know, the quote unquote, the skinny fat person.
Yeah.
And then muscle growth. Because there's a lot of myths out there too.
Well, and it's like the concept of like, again, like taking up less space. Oh, you need to run. You need to be a cardio bunny, a cardio queen, you know, only go to use the elliptical and the treadmill. concept of that to lose weight, again, fine, sure, there is weight that can be lost because you're burning calories. However, if you're not actively building the muscle, then you're not building muscle and you're just losing fat and muscle. So it's like even someone skinny fat, you know, sometimes that means I think sometimes people refer to that as like, oh, they have a terrible diet, but they just have a great metabolism and they don't work out. So they're just able to maintain a slim figure without having to work for it. Or maybe you're someone who is so thin that there's no fat on your body. Okay, not a lot of fat, but there's really not a lot of muscle. And so then you start to wonder, like, are you just skin and bones and organs? Like, what does that mean? Like, how's your bone density? Have you gotten quite frail? Especially women, especially the risk of osteoporosis as we age. Like men and women, each decade, it gets harder to maintain your muscle and build muscle. But your bone density, like people forget that. There's a category of exercises that are just referred to as like bone loading exercises. Like if I'm standing in place, I'm standing tall and I have 2 dumbbells and I'm pressing them overhead, I'm bone loading. By the time I'm at the top, the weight has been loaded over my bones, my joints, and stacked. And so with this logic, as you apply resistance to your bones, they grow. You know, you just like muscle, you damage the muscle, they recover, the muscle fibers get thicker and stronger and not bulkier per se, but it just adds lean muscle mass. So I think the myth of it all is like, oh, weightlifting equals muscle, which equals bulk, but people don't realize weightlifting equals lean muscle mass, which helps burn fat and ultimately give people that toned, defined look, you know?
Well, I think you said it too earlier. It's a firmer. It takes up less space, right?
Yes.
So fat, it's an expansion of all this stuff, and then as soon as you start weight training, right? Doesn't everything, the muscle constricts as opposed to
100%.
having that layer of fat on top of it, or however.
Especially with women, like there's this great book, like I forget if it's called not The Secrets, but I think it's weightlifting for women. And just in the first couple pages, it talks about when women, especially women who have never weightlifted, no matter their age, they're total beginners. The first few things that happen in the first few months is we get tighter, we get firmer, things pull in. I imagine it like a corset, like you're putting a corset on your body and you're tightening it and tightening it. Like whether you have like 300 pounds, you're overweight, or you're more like 100 pounds, you're a little underweight. Like once you start lifting weights, loading the bones, loading the muscles, you will get tighter, leaner, firmer. And sometimes that's where men might get bigger, but women tend to like get tighter first. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. And I've seen that just with weight training myself.
Yeah.
Because again, like and then when you stop, like we have a hard time with that. So it is once weight training, everything gets a lot tighter and tighter. Actually, what does that equal to the women? Because the mindset is always bulk. Tighter is smaller.
It is. It is.
We all want to. Oh, well, I want to be thin.
Yes.
Weight. Well, you're already getting that way by lifting weights because everything is becoming smaller.
Yeah. And I think we have hope. Like, I think we have hope now, like right now in like the 2020s, we're seeing more women weightlift. And we do, like, you can thank CrossFit for that in some regards. Like we suddenly saw, oh, you're teaching women how to lift with a barbell, whether they're just squatting it or they're cleaning it, you know? And people were like, I want to get strong. Strong is the new skinny. I think that's doing more for women right now than maybe 20 or 30 years ago when women had curves, right? Like they're just, again, going on cardio machines, and it's not all bad. Like I think, hey, as long as you're exercising, you're doing something. It's
heart healthy. Yeah, it's heart healthy.
Something.
So yeah, so cardio is still like, I'm still going to do it because it's heart healthy for sure. You should be out there doing that.
And it builds muscle.
Yeah.
It depends. If you're sprinting versus going for like a 5-mile jog, you know, sprinting will build more muscle ultimately than jogging for 5 miles. But I think it all, as long as people are exercising, right?
Yeah, it's been a long
Hopefully
time
weightlifting.
since I've looked at 5 miles. Maybe I looked at like 5 miles out there. It's been a long time. I used to
Ditto.
run. I used to like it, but now my knees are like bum and old people.
Yeah, and do you feel better weightlifting?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do feel better weightlifting. I've always felt better weightlifting, but I think that's just me. Again, I've loved it. I've always loved it. Hitting the pavement outside when I
Mm,
did run and my knees weren't so wonky was fabulous. Um, and it was a time to just kind of like let things go, let the day go, and kind of just be with my thoughts and
right.
my music and my mind, and be out in nature. So that was lovely. But now it's like I have to walk, and walking is great too for cardio, and
Right.
that's fine if that's what you're doing. Everything should be baby steps anyway, I think, for folks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People always say, like, at the end of the day, find what you can enjoy doing and just do it.
Mhm. Yes.
Just do it.
Yes, absolutely. So it's always been recommended to lift weights, do cardio, do mobility
Mm,
exercises, and yet we as women, not necessarily you and I, but we as women are still just looking for the next quick fix, because I see it all the time, especially with all of the new chemicals and new things that are out there that people are just chugging, shooting, eating, popping, whatever you want to call it. So
totally.
so tell me um, how long did you weight train to see the changes in your body and begin to feel like the positive changes of that? And then my
Mm.
secondary follow up would be, what would you recommend to other females as well?
That's such a good question. I haven't thought of that in a while. Um, but it kind of ties into my origin story as a coach. Like, I specifically remember in the winter spring of 2014, moved to Chicago. I got a gym membership because I was like, adults should get gym membership. So I started working out, and I did like spin classes or
Mm-hmm.
bopped around to the different machines and did different machines. But I remember specifically around 3 months in, I saw muscle. Like, it's like when you go into the mirror and you try to flex and you see that first like definition, the striation, a line, something in your body that's different. You're like, oh my gosh, like it's working. I'm building muscle. My body is changing shape from the work that I put in at the gym. And just that concept of like hard work pays off, like immediate results. I was like, let's go. And then it was like, so the first 3 months, boom, that's when I started noticing change. And then it was when I decided to hire my first personal trainer. Again, we already shouted out Brittany McCoy, that I started seeing the most improvement because I had someone to guide me and help me like I asked all sorts of questions about nutrition and fitness, and she just took them like a champ and helped me out a lot. And it was then like when I added more protein into my diet, and I started just like being mindful of like fruits and vegetables and protein, and then weightlifting consistently, like that's when all the changes took off. But it really doesn't take long. Like, if you're like, for anyone out there, if you are dedicated, if you could dedicate the next 3 to 6 months, and maybe you're already doing it, but of hard workouts 3 to 4 days a week, 3 days a week of strength, like lift some weights, kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells, machines, like lift weights, make it tough, make the last 2 to 3 reps of every set a little bit tough. And you will see results. Like, there's no doubt. Like, even if you don't change your diet that much, if you just add that much weightlifting in your life, especially if you've never done it, like beginner's gains, like everyone says that, like when you're a brand new beginner, that's when you see the most improvement. So yeah, that's my piece of advice. I think people expect miracles, but they're not willing to, like you said, it's the quick fix. Oh, if I don't see change within a week or a month, I'm giving up on that diet, that program, that workout, that trainer, maybe, like anything. So it really just takes, I think, like, give it a good 3 to 6 months and you'll see drastic changes.
And then, so when does it become, I forgot now, when does it become habit? How long does it take for it to become habit? So it's like breathing, that you just
Right.
constantly, you're like, I'm doing it. Because it's just like even changing. This is something as simple as changing from an evening workout to a morning workout. That
Yeah.
takes discipline and that takes time. And the first time you do it, you're like, I don't even think I'm going to do this again. So
Totally.
how long does that take?
That's such a good question. I'm literally changing my routine right now from an afternoon to an evening. Like I used to work out. My headphones are trying to die on me.
Uh-oh.
Can you still hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
I think habit comes from like finding intrinsic motivation. You need to find why you're going to the gym. You can't just let it be my doctor told me to, or my partner said I need to work out. Like you need to be like we're saying about, oh, you watch the guys lift weights and change their body, and I saw muscle, and then I was like, I want to go more. You know, I became so hooked on the results that I found a purpose for the work, and then I learned how to enjoy the process. Like I wasn't competing, I wasn't having any deadlines. I just started going 3 days a week, then 4 days a week, then 5 days a week, then 6 days a week. For years I went 6 days a week to the gym. Now, you know, it's like 4 to 5 days a week. I don't take it as hard, as disciplined as I used to, and I'll go through flows, but it'll always be a part of my life. And I think once you find the reason and the results, that's when it becomes a habit. It's like, why do we brush our teeth? It's such a boring, tedious process, but we don't want to deal with the negative results of poor dental health. And we want to deal with the positive results of like clean white teeth. So we brush our teeth.
Right. Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me. I love it. As always, I love having you on. It's been fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we covered all. I think this is why we get along. It's like, even like if you know yourself, like, yes, I did cardio at one point and it served me, but like now I love the iron. Like I'm into iron. And we're just trying to spread the love. We're just trying to empower and educate other women and our friends to just also fall in love, you know? That's all we're doing. So I love that we can bond over that.
Yeah, fall in love with weight training, and it's not an overnight thing. It takes freaking time.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work. It's not a pill you can pop, something you can shoot, something you're going to eat, or something you're going to, I don't know, whatever else. You have to put in the work. It takes a long time. It's funny too. I want to do a sidebar really quick. You said it took 3 months and you were 20 something. Is that correct? You were in your 20s, right? I was in my 20s and then working through mine, and I will say it did not take 3 months. I'm going to say it took me probably a year to a year and a half. And that was not just the weight training and the cardio and that fine balance that I talked about in the beginning of what my body needed to kind of morph into the body that I wanted it to look like. But also figuring out through trial and error what foods were good with my body and what were not. So that was a big thing too. What supplements worked and what did not. So that took like a year to a year and a half. And then I had a good regimen of like, okay, these are the things I need to go ahead and train hard so that if I do have that deadline when I am competing, I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, it took me a hot minute. It definitely took a while.
And exactly, right? Because there's no one way to follow a diet, because like sometimes your body responds better to a lot of carbs versus a lot of fats. Like I can process like 150 grams of protein, you know, and that's a lot for some people. And they're like, oh my God, I can't even imagine trying to get 100. And I was like, well, that's what helped me build muscle and maintain muscle. Like if you're doing like progressive overload training where you're consistently lifting heavier weights or higher reps throughout your program, then you need protein and certain carbs and fats in your diet to like recover and rebuild. So yeah, sometimes I think people try to eat too little and they don't eat enough to see the muscle progress that they want.
Yeah, they go into, and you need to be in a caloric deficit for sure to lose weight, but not weight. I mean, some folks that I've seen and I've actually talked to, they were like way down in there. I'm like, how are you even breathing right now?
I know. It's so dangerous.
Like, and I love food. I mean, I used to say, I'm like, I work out for my donuts. Like I love cupcakes and donuts. I'm working out for that.
100%.
So I mean, do what you got to do to make you happy. Donuts make me happy. I'm going to go to the gym. I'll be back.
Right. Exactly. I know donuts are such a thing in the fitness world. There's like a company that's called Deadlifts and Donuts.
Uh-huh.
There's so many. Yeah, donuts are like the thing. It's so funny.
Is it a protein donut?
No,
It's a
I've
regular
actually
donut?
maybe they have both. You know what I mean? They might have protein donuts and regular donuts. I think it's in New York City. You can look it up. It's definitely they like have swag and logos, deadlifts
Fun.
and donuts.
Fun. Super
But they
fun.
might have protein donuts now that I think of it.
I tried protein cookies the other day from, it's a known brand. I won't throw that out there because I thought it was horrible. It was really gross. And it was one of those, like me and my husband were like, hey, we'll just split this to just get some protein in our system. And there was nothing else for us to grab. And so we grabbed it. And I'm like, where's the Pop-Tart? The Pop-Tart, the protein Pop-Tart was really nice. Why
That's much
couldn't we have
better.
gotten the protein Pop-Tart?
That one's good. That one's good. I
Yeah,
know.
the cookie, not so much. I'm
Cookies
like,
are like almost too sweet. Like it gives me a headache sometimes.
it's just, it's not good.
Didn't
It's
cut
not
it. It did
good.
not cut
Yeah, it doesn't. But
it.
anyway, thank you again so much. I appreciate it. And then again, before I let all of my guests go, we're gonna do a just for fun speed round. So you
Oh,
ready to
yeah.
go?
Cool. Let's go.
All right. Number one supplement for weight training.
Ooh, I love casein. Oh, wait. You know what? Hang on. Hang on. That's the protein. I always confuse the two. I'm going to go with creatine.
Creatine. Okay. Fabulous.
Creatine during the workouts or before the workouts.
So as a pre. So you take it before or during.
Yeah, it's good for like building muscle and helping endurance, and it's actually one of the most tested and regulated. So like teenage athletes are on creatine. That's the only muscle supplement. I mean, casein is a type of protein that I take in the evenings, and I think protein supplements are great. But if you were to get into actual supplementation, I think creatine for strength is phenomenal.
Yeah, creatine is definitely, and your body makes it naturally. But again, when you're slinging weights, you need just a little bit more of
Yeah.
things at that time. So pre-workout, post-workout, or both?
Are you asking me if I take it or what I would suggest?
What you would suggest?
Oh, gotcha.
Or both. I don't know. I mean,
I'm very much like what I say to my clients, what I say to my friends and myself, carbs pre, but like keep it to carbs, like a banana, keep it simple. Post workout, that's where it's at. That's where you get like the protein and the carbs. Sometimes I love going into a workout with like a big meal planned afterward. Not that we have to be like, oh, food is reward. Sometimes food is a treat. Absolutely. But like, yeah, I love that workout where you're like, yeah, donuts and wings after this or something like that. So I will always prefer a post-workout meal because you're like, it tastes better, the satisfaction of a hard workout. But yeah, big fan of carbs before a workout.
Gotcha. Okay. So so now we're going back to protein, right? So you've only got two choices. There is only birthday cake batter or purple boba tea flavored protein. Which one do you choose?
Birthday cake all the way. All the way. I don't even think I've had a purple boba or boba tea flavored.
I saw it on Instagram. I'm like, well, I don't know if it was purple. It was boba tea flavored protein, and I was like, this is interesting because me and my husband love boba, so we're just like, oh, maybe we'll try that one day.
Yeah. I mean, I bet it tastes good, right?
Well, we would hope. Some of them taste really nasty, as we're well aware, but some of them taste like, oh my gosh, I would like, it tastes like a treat. It almost tastes like you're having dessert or something fun, and it's actually a protein shake. So that's awesome.
Totally.
All right. So favorite body part to train?
Shoulders. Done.
Awesome.
End of story. Shoulders.
Mine's back.
Yeah. Upper body more than lower body for sure.
Yeah, lower body's a little tedious for me. Yeah. It's long and tedious and drawn out, but I love doing like shoulders is awesome, but back is my favorite.
Yeah. I always loved a press day. Like sometimes I miss training like a bodybuilder and not like for strength and gymnastics because it was just fun to like go to the gym, lift some weights, get a pump, finish, Nice. So yeah, I like training shoulders the most.
Awesome. All right, Nikki, thank you so much for chatting with me on a Friday. And for everybody else, we'll see you soon. Take care and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it too. Have a good weekend.
You too.